Hello and welcome to the IMBA Cup. This is round 3 of the winners bracket. These two players still undefeated. We got Tag Rock, got the easier fast schedule, got a free win against Saduga, then beat Kola Colin. And he's taking on Lucian, who's beaten some very good players. Just beat Zoc as well as Pebble early on. And I can see this De Rosa here, there's just way too much mass, and initially from Lucian just a total mass spam or power spam, and this first NG is just going to reclaim mass. No mass extractors yet. You see the plan for Rock nearly identical. That's actually an identical build from both players so far, and usually on this map we're going to see crazy things, so expecting a very good game. This could be the game of the tourney right here. Could actually be the final. Now we are seeing second air from Lucian, and then it's going to be just land spam. That's identical to Rock, going air and then land and more power. It's interesting that Rock's using the same group of engineers to do everything. Lucian is split up into two. He's got basically 4 NGs here, ACU and 2 NGs. Spamming power, has got 2 on the factories, and another NG picking up the mass extractors. And here comes a bomber from Rock. And you can see how Rock was taking all his NGs to do everything, both factories and power. So we should see an advantage early on for Lucian in terms of how much power is created. Probably not by much, however. The factories were a little slower for Lucian. Here comes a bomber for Tag Rock, it's slightly ahead. The bomber for Lucian, and an interceptor following Rock, and an interceptor now coming out. So you can see here Rock is just slightly ahead in terms of factories. There's slightly more power for Lucian, and here comes this bomber. It's about to get shot by Rock. Unfortunate for Lucian. So those early factories are paying off for Rock. And he's also doing the big land spam here out in front of his base. Already upgrading mass extractors. The first T2. No upgrades for Rock yet, but interesting, he is going with mass storage. That way he can reclaim a lot of mass right away. Don't see any mass storage for Lucian yet. There is a battle in the middle that Tag Rock is easily winning with his early air advantage. See some spying Selines from Lucian. It looks like Rock is able to get a force up in the top base where there's just one tank coming in from Lucian. Interesting that this is Seraphim on Seraphim. So it looks like probably on the bottom Lucian should be able to take. He has tanks there much more early, so we're going to see a top versus bottom fight. And bombers actually for Lucian coming out on both sides, looking for any drops. We see absolutely no drops. Actually no, there is a drop here from Tag Rock, getting some NGs, get some fresh mass, and actually got past that interceptor from Lucian. A lot of NGs here from Lucian dropping, getting some anti-air, some PD up on this ledge, and a drop from Lucian. Looked like that interceptor was following it, but then it lost it. There's a kill for Lucian, taking out a transport. It's going to be a drop from Lucian. He's going to try to get this base, but you already see multiple factories for Tag Rock. This air fight still continues. It's still in Rock's favor, but very close. And here's a successful drop, getting some factories, some PDs. Should be found out pretty quickly here. That's a small fight on the bottom, pretty even numbers, although much more production for Lucian in that area. A pretty large force here from Tag Rock, but you can see Lucian already got a PD, a factory, getting radar, under air, He's going to get more factories in, but here comes some arty from Rock. They take out that PD, take out everything else very quickly. This should be a good defense from Rock. In terms of construction, we already see T3 mask structures being constructed by Lushan, and some sneaky units from Rock get some tanks into Lushan's base, and not drop from Rock into the bottom base. Could be successful. Actually, Lushan here taking a long time to die, but will die very shortly. This should be a successful drop from Rock. So Rock looks like he's getting the early advantage. He might be able to capture both sides, but most likely won't be able to do much on the bottom. But a pretty large force coming in from Rock. So while this is fighting, he can get a base. But here comes a bomber. And that's about as good as you can possibly defend. A 7-kill bomber here. Excellent work from Lushan. Extremely important bomber. T1 bombers coming in from Rock. It's going to help out the ground forces. See, Lushan has completed the T1 power spam and I'm making T2. Looks like a T2 land factory now spamming Yoshivas by Lushan. And we're not seeing any T2 yet from Tag Rock. Here at minute 10, if we look at reclamation, 26,000 for Lushan, 32 for Rock. And Rock does seem to have the bigger spam at this point, just looking from a long distance away. A lot of factories here in his expansion, and this is a very big spam from Rock. That's pretty ridiculous. A lot less for Lushan, but Lushan does have T2, so we're going to see T1 versus T2 in this fight. So far, Rock is having an advantage getting some units actually taking out mass extractors. No T2 over here defending the expansion for Lushan, but he does have some of that T2 now coming out. Shields and T2 power, so it looks like Lushan's slightly ahead on technology, and he might be able to make up the map loss with those Yoshivas. But here, this is trouble. Rock has just a massive force rolling through and does have T1 air control. Still no T2 from actually, here is a T2 factory from Tag Rock, but he's continuing more Take 1 land spam. Big problems for Lushan here on the bottom. And we do see T3 land here now at minute 13 from Lushan. So bypassing the Yoshivas, going straight to the Othams. And you do see these Yoshivas in action. 13-kill Yoshiva here from Lushan. Putting on a lot of pressure on the top side. Yet another Yoshiva just died. And we do see these T3 tanks moving down to the bottom. And Rock is successfully taking out Lushan's expansion. Lushan's down to a single base. There's one brave NG here in the back, getting a lot of mass for Lushan. And actually on all fronts, Rock is gaining map control. But we should see these Othams come into play. We see some Yoshivas. Where did the Othams go? Looks like they were sent to the other direction. These tanks right here are going to get massive kills. These Yoshivas at 9 kills, 6 kills. Here is the T3 right here. Yeah, this T1 force here from Rock has absolutely no chance. Now we do see total air domination from Rock bombing. This is a 20-kill Tech 1 bomber from Rock. Must have killed a lot of NGs. So we're now going to see T3 versus T1, and Tag Rock says Jesus Christ, because these Othams are doing a lot of damage. They're pushing back into one front, actually pushing back on 2 different fronts. This is just a crazy NG from Lushan, and you can see Rock getting back even more spam here in his new base. This is just a pure Autumn spam plus some Tech 1 onto air. We see a lot of bombers coming in for tag Rock. The Rock trying to take out power. Nearly does. A couple more bombs would have been nice. You can see these Autumns on top, 33 kills, 45. We might actually run into too much trouble here on top. On the bottom, 21 killed, 29, 21. And these ones are actually on an offensive here. See a lot of T2 mask structures for Rock. You might start losing those. And actually on top looks like a victory for Rock. He just runs over those Autumn, 77 kill Autumn. It's just raining Sarah from Artie. And these bombers, Tech 1 bombers from Rock, were doing an excellent job. Rock really making that air count. Autumns versus T1 bombers. And looks like that early push with the T-through is dying for Lucian, although he does have one force doing real damage against Rock, but Rock not coming out with his own Autumns. And now this is 3 Autumns pushing back on top. Actually completely ran over that force. Rock used to have a force here that just got disappeared. And it looks like Rock's T1 has basically disappeared off the map. He sent it all in and it ran into the Autumns. It looks like a drop, an Autumn drop from Rock behind Lucian's base. Didn't see that. I went over that mountain. Had 2 Autumns take out the T2 mask extractor. Great work from Rock. You can see the response from Lucian. He's coming out with his ACU directly in between the 2 tanks now, and you can see these Autumns. These ones went really far on the map. 43 kills, 63. Now runs into Rock's Autumns, and these are going to die. And now you can see Rock's T3 moving out. These Autumns here have hundreds of kills between them. Still map control in Rock's favor here, coming up on minute 20. Rock has reclaimed 65,000, Lucian 54, so about 10,000 advantage for Rock. That's excellent. Oh, actually we see a chicken now for Lucian. That's going to turn things interesting direction. 1 kill now for Lucian's ACU. So Rock definitely saw that chicken. He just had an Autumn get taken out, and you can see Lucian going out to the top. You can see these Autumns still doing damage. Big veterans. It's going to be a 3 on 4 here, but these tanks from Lucian have a lot more veterancy. The chicken looks like it's going straight through the middle. Autumn's killing off more T1. And you can see here numbers really count in this T3 fight. And more drops from Lucian. 2 players doing drops past each other. And lots of flak now with this chicken. We should see a chicken. Yeah, a chicken for Rock now. Halfway done. Should be done by the time Zock's chicken get there. But Zock's getting quite a bit of veterancy here, going into all this T1 from Rock, and you can see this flak's going to get a lot of kills. Successful drop from Rock is going to take out a T3 mask extractor. Actually get a lot more other kills as well. Now we're seeing a T3 land spam as well as T3 air spam from Lucian. We only see, yeah, we do see some T3 power generators. This Autumn is still alive for Lucian. Ran away from this T3 force. 51 kills. You can see this chicken's in the middle. Chicken for Rock is going to be completed now. Minute 23. And Autumns are taking back Lucian's early expansion here on the bottom. Still a lot of T1 for Rock on the map. And some T1 now sneaking in. And here we see this drop tank. Some T2 PD as well. Yudin sneaking into Lushan's base. He really didn't have too many Othams protecting his base once the chicken left, and now the chicken is moving in on Rock's base now with 80 kills. See this chicken for tag Rock and getting some T3 mobile shields to help out. And yet another drop from Rock, another kills off a T2 mass extractor that was going to T3. Another good drop from Rock. Early, continuous pressure here on Lushan's base. Now we are going to see this chicken fight. It's going to be a big advantage for Rock with these shields. A lot of health here, 10,000 health per shield. Of course, this chicken here has veterancy, 93 kills. Now you can see it's going to be pretty close. 42,000, 24. And that's just unlucky. Actually, both of them die. There was some bombers that came in for tag Rock, really helped out. It's going to be a huge advantage for Rock with all this wrecks, both of these wrecks. It's over 40,000 mass, and this Otham is now going to get taken out by Lushan's ACU. Lushan's been killing Othams in his own base. You can see that this bottom base doesn't belong to anyone anymore. We do see a lot of T2 bombers for Rock. Some ASF for Lushan. Looks like a pretty large T1 force now moving out for Rock to the bottom. And Rock still has a significant advantage in map control. Now Rock looks like he's back to making THAMs. Not too much in air at all. Not even a T3 factory yet. It's a lot of T2 power and actually no T3 power at all for Rock, so sticking to T2. It's a pretty big advantage for Lushan, and he actually switched to going to air. Not too much in terms of spam at all. So we should see Rock have a pretty big advantage on the map in terms of ground units very soon, and we already see that, and they're moving into Lushan's direction. A drop from Lushan, some T1, taking out the last mass extractors here in his own old expansion. We are seeing a lot of T3 mobile shields in the Othams, plus some flak from Rock's, a nice force. And we are now seeing Lushan taking air control. We are seeing Strat Bomber now being used for defense. So ASF control from Lushan plus Strat Bombers. And these are going to be very good against units. It's going to be interesting to see how well Lushan uses these. We also see Lushan with his ACU. Just got picked up. Not clear where he's going, but this is kind of crazy. Now we are going to see these Strat Bombers attacking Rock's base directly. That's going to be a devastating bomb. Just hey, we've got another Strat Bomber coming in now. Now Rock doesn't really have any shields, and this is pretty crazy. Rock should have really had shields at this point in the game. Those Strat Bombers really got him by surprise. It was really all Rock all game. He had map control and was really having Lushan on the back foot. A huge mass advantage. And then Lushan just simply switches from land to air, gets air control with T3, and drops some bombs on tag Rock. Rock really went with ground, really neglected air, didn't even go with T3 power. So really good game. Lushan moves into the semifinal, and now the losers bracket got even stronger.